This week in Jamaica Now.
Anyone found with a gun should start with the death penalty.
Prime Minister's wish dashed as impractical. 12 years for 2 murders. Prosecution to appeal light sentence for an alleged gangster with 2 previous convictions for gun crimes. High-level probe launched after Fugitive walks out of the Central Police lockup ahead of his extradition. Why the second main witness in the clansman-one gang trial is not criminally charged. JC Old Boys clash with school leadership. And Rihanna conferred a National Hero of Barbados as the Caribbean nation removes the Queen as the head of state.
This is a day that I would never ever forget.
Former Prime Minister P.J. Patterson says it's time for Jamaica to become a republic. I'm Damian Mitchell and this is Jamaica Now. Prime Minister Andrew Holness was the subject of criticisms this week after declaring that his wish was for people convicted of gun crimes to be given the death penalty. The Prime Minister said this indicated how seriously he considered the matter of gun crimes.
Forgive the hyperbolic expression. But what I'm saying is there needs to be stiffer penalties for those people who import the weapon, who provide the weapons to the killers, who lock the weapons, who use them to intimidate people. There should be the harshest penalties for them.
The Independent Jamaica Council for Human Rights is among the bodies that have rejected the Prime Minister's pronouncement. Council Director Dr. Lloyd Barnett says no civilized country would impose the death penalty for illegal possession of a gun. Other attorneys have also rejected the Prime Minister's claim. The Office of the Director of Public Prosecutions has revealed that the Westmoreland man sentenced to 12 years in prison on 2 counts of murder had 2 previous convictions for illegal possession of a firearm. Lyndon Powell, who is 21, was on August 21, 2019 sentenced to 18 months imprisonment at hard labor on each count of the firearm offenses. On Thursday, Justice Bertram Morrison sentenced Powell to 12 years in prison for the January 2017 murder of Oral McIntosh and another 12 years for the March murder of Ida Clark, both in Westmoreland. Both sentences are to run at the same time, and the judge ruled that Powell should become eligible for parole after 10 years behind bars. The DPP revealed that after passing down the sentence, the Deputy Director of Public Prosecutions indicated that when the guilty plea was being entered, the Crown recommended life imprisonment on each count of murder with eligibility for parole after 21 years. However, the judge insisted that his 12-year sentence would stand. So the DPP has decided to appeal the sentence, claiming that it is manifestly insufficient. A high-level corruption probe has been launched into the mysterious disappearance of a Jamaican fugitive wanted in St. Lucia for murder and gun crimes. 27-year-old Orville Purnell is believed to have simply walked out of the police custody at the Kingston Central Police lockup. Preliminary indications are that lawmen might have been complicit in the security breach. Purnell was due to face an extradition hearing on December 6. The fugitive faces charges of murder, illegal possession of a firearm and ammunition, and escaping custody in St. Lucia. He had been recaptured in Buff Bay on July 14, 2021. He fled St. Lucia in October 2020. Now to the clansman-one gang trial. The chief investigator on Friday testified that the prosecution's second main witness is not likely to face any anti-gang charges, but may be charged with other crimes. The second main witness is an ex-member of the One Don gang, a breakaway faction of the Klansman gang. For more on this matter, we're joined now by court reporter Tanisha Mundell. Tanisha, what really triggered this pronouncement by the lead investigator?
The investigator made the pronouncement after he was questioned by Chief Justice Brian Sykes about why he had not charged the prosecution's second witness. Yesterday, the prosecution's second witness was grilled by a defense attorney, Dennis Inson, about why he had not charged the witness. He had told the court then that the reason was that the witness was never a suspect in any of the incident that he had told the police about. The investigator also told the court that checks made by the police in the St. Catherine North Police Division had turned up empty. So this morning when the matter resumed, Chief Justice sought clarity on the witness's explanation. The Chief Justice wanted to know what was behind the police's thinking and why they had not charged the prosecution's second witness, even though he had confessed to being a member of the gang and had indicated that he was involved in the murders, the arson, and extortion. The Chief Justice wanted to know, even if they were going to offer him a plea deal, why he was not charged. So because of this, the investigator explained that he charged all of the defendants following a ruling from the Director of Public Prosecution. He also told the court that based on his understanding of the anti-gang legislation, the best way to bring down the gang is to get a member of the gang to help him with his investigation. However, he told the court that although the prosecution's second witness is not likely to be charged, in this case, the murder matters are open and he might be charged.
Well, last week there was some arguments over the admission of phones as evidence. Was there any development this week on this matter?
Yes, the prosecution made a small victory this week. They had another phone entered into evidence. So now they have 2 of the 3 phones that were used to secretly record conversation with the gang in evidence. They also attempted to have the 3rd phone entered, but this failed because the investigator could not use the dial-up method that he had testified that he had used to retrieve the phone IMEI number, and so the phone remained marked as an exhibit.
Also this week there was a revelation that the investigators had an issue getting cell phone data from the telecoms providers. Was there eventually any resolution?
No, that matter remains unresolved. The prosecutor had informed the court that he would provide an update on Friday, but today, when the matter came up, the prosecutor did not say anything. So the court does not know if the police has obtained the phone records from the service providers.
Thank you very much. Tanisha Mundell there, our court reporter, with our roundup of the clansman-one gang trial. The Jamaica College JC Old Boys Association is pushing back at the leadership of the 232-year-old institution, which has been critical of 2 of its members. Earlier this week, the JC leadership issued a cease and desist call to Old Boys Colin Greenland and Major Basil Jarrett, claiming that their recent actions have been harmful and detrimental to Jamaica College. But in a statement Friday, the Old Boys Association said Greenland, who is the treasurer, and Jarrett, who is a former president, have been most loyal, dedicated, and hard-working servants. The association further said it stood firmly behind Greenland and Jarrett, whom it maintained have consistently and faithfully defended, supported, and promoted their alma mater. The association also reminded that it has a legal right to participate in all board meetings and deliberations, adding that the group takes a very dim view of any attempt to silence, bar, or remove its voices from the discussions. The association has complained that it was not a part of the board decisions in relation to former principal Royal Reed. International hit singer Rihanna has been declared a National Hero of Barbados. The declaration coincided with Barbados' transition to a republic, removing the Queen as the head of state. Prime Minister Mia Mottley made the announcement in Bridgetown to loud cheers as Rihanna was called up to be acknowledged. The 33-year-old singer, whose full name is Robin Rihanna Fenty, is the 11th National Hero of Barbados.
I have traveled the world and received several awards and recognitions, but nothing compares to being recognized in the soil that you grew in. So I thank you so much for this.
And the transition of Barbados to a republic has renewed calls for Jamaica to do likewise. Former head of government P.J. Patterson has written to the Prime Minister Andrew Holness and the opposition leader Mark Golding to cut partisan borders and relinquish the monarchy in establishing a republic. In a letter to Holness and Golding dated December 2, Patterson said it would be repulsive to contemplate Jamaica's 60th independence anniversary with the Queen as the head of state. Hundreds of commuters were left stranded this week as Jamaica Urban Transit Company drivers went on strike. They withdrew their services on Monday to protest the weekend arrest of a colleague in the corporate area under controversial circumstances.
We are not trained to reverse a bus like that in the night. We do not know what is going on. And it's not easy, very tough, it's not easy well move, but he decides to not play hard. So the driver stubbornly, the plainclothes policeman them decides to boy, them a call it some uniform police and the uniform policeman come to the bus, give him the instructions for reverse, decide against it. Them drag him out, them start hard and pull him out of the bus. Big passenger bus, leave the company revenue in the bus same way, handcuff him, bring him away, charge him for resisting arrest, not for the instruction, not wearing a mask, even though the video player showed that he had on a mask. So it's all because of that why this happened.
The drivers eventually went back to work after meeting with senior managers and union representatives. And that's it for this edition of Jamaica Now, your weekly review of the big news stories. Send us your comments at onlinefeedback@gleanerjm.com. Follow us on Twitter and Instagram at Jamaica Gleaner and on Facebook at Gleaner Jamaica. Like this video on our YouTube page, subscribe today and turn on your notifications. I'm Damian Mitchell, and before we go, how a 21-year-old woman used her rock-bottom moments to become a university graduate.
I never stopped dreaming nor believing that I could make it to be a success story. I used to have to work in the night while going to school. I got internship at the Ministry of Education. I did the bottle service. I did any little thing that I could get my hands on. I did it to make a living. I work within the National Stadium as an official and in the media part with TRD Sports. So when I was working my work experience at the Ministry of Education, I met this lovely young lady, which is currently my sister, Moyet Evans. She was the one that said, Shamoya, you can't go through university without paying a red cent. And that is what I did. I wrote my letters. Anywhere I wrote, I put in my life story, because most of the times persons use pride. But I had to put my pride aside, even though my pride made me cry a lot of times, and put what was going through, what I'm going through on paper, let them know this is it. I don't have any parental aid, whatever. I'm involved within the community, and I just do it with a passion, determination. No, don't take no for an answer. If they say no, you write to them again. Listen, it's going to be hard. When they think they close the door on you, you call them. You go to the offices, you drop it off, you let them say you need the money. Once they say that you need the money and they say, yo, this girl is not giving up, then they will definitely give you the money. And it becomes just a part of me that I started to just apply for everything that comes our way, apply. Then I went to Grace and Staff Community Development Foundation. I went to the PART office again because I'm also on the PART program. And I did right, and I was successful. I went through university 4 years of my life without paying a red cent. Even upon graduating, I didn't have to worry about paying for graduation. That's how blessed I am. It doesn't matter where you come from, but what you do at the end of the day